Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Own Your Ship podcast. I am so happy to be here with you guys today. I'm going to be a little more transparent with you than I usually am. Today, I'm talking about marriage. Now, if you've already seen the title of the episode, you know we're going to be talking about the fact that I was not ready for my marriage. Disclaimer, I'm still married to the same dude, but I'm being transparent about how I was in the beginning and why I was not ready for marriage. Before we dive deep in, please take a screenshot of this video or this audio, wherever you're listening or watching from. Tag me on Instagram at Melissa T. Walker _ and let us start talking about marriage. Drop some stuff in the comments below. Let me know or how you knew you weren't ready for marriage and what are some of the things you did in the beginning of your marriage that would make you say, yeah, I wasn't ready for marriage. You are now tuned in to the Own Your Ship podcast here on YouTube. All right, so my story, how I knew I wasn't ready for marriage. I used to think that he would just do whatever I said and that was it. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. You're not going to give me no talk. I'm going to tell you what it is and this is what it's going to be. Clearly, I didn't know the type of husband I had because he not about that life. I'm going to learn to respect him, and at the end of the day, it's not about what he says goes, it's about what we say go. So I was operating from a place of me, and what I wanted, and not a place of we. Another thing, I was very combative and argumentative. I was not taking no for an answer, and I was going to do everything I could to have the last say, the last word. I always felt like I needed to win, and it was like almost like a game. It was like I felt a piece of me depleting if I didn't have a comeback. And even now to this day, I got to catch myself sometimes. There are times where we would jokingly be throwing jabs at each other. And because I want to one up him, I would hit him all the way below the belt. And he would look at me like, bruh, really? Come on, man, that was cold. And I have to catch myself like, oh, snap, resorting back to old ways. My bad, my fault. I'm sorry. All right. So that was another thing. I was always trying to fight, always trying to be argumentative because I needed to have my way. I needed to have my say. So another thing was I was too focused on the idea of marriage and not the actual union of marriage. And just to be completely clear, for my entire late teens, early, mid, late 20s, my primary focus was to find love, to be in a relationship, find love, someone who I could grow old with, someone who I could love and who would love me. The idea was that I wanted this person to be like a high school sweetheart or a college sweetheart. So we could have stories for years and have this beautiful love story. But what I didn't realize at the time, and I'm certainly realizing now, is that a lot of people who get married super young, like 18, 19, 20, around that age, one, you have a group of people whose marriage don't work out. And then you have another set who've gone through so much hell just to make their marriage work. And I look at that now and I'm like, I was chasing the wrong thing, pretty much. I wasn't focused on the purpose of marriage. I wasn't focused on what I needed or what was required of me in marriage. And I spent a lot of time just trying to find love because I thought that's what it was. I thought just being in love is what would make the marriage work. It was naive on my part, but I really thought that that was what makes marriages work, love. And I'm sure everyone can attest, or everyone who's married or who's been married can attest that it takes way more than love to make a marriage work. So the other point, I was not willing to compromise. And I touched on that earlier when I said that he would have to do what I want, or at least that's what I thought. I did not want to compromise. And one of the biggest reasons why I didn't want to compromise was because it was not what I saw growing up. I used to see how my parents dealt with each other. And for the most part, My mother was more laid back. I don't want to say submissive because submissive is not the right word. She allowed my father to do whatever he wanted. And it would rub me the wrong way because I was always strong headed and I was always like, nah, ain't no man go talk to me like that. Ain't no man go tell me what to do like that. Nah, I'm not with it. And I adapted my father's mentality in terms of how he approached his own relationship. And I decided that that was the approach I was going to take in my relationship. I figured I'd rather be the one on top than the one on the bottom. You're not going to step on me. I'm not going to have that. I'll be the one stepping around here, if that makes sense. That was another point. Another thing, I entertained the idea of quitting my marriage before we even hit a year. I entertained the idea of walking away. I felt like I made a mistake because things were just not going, they weren't going the way that I wanted them to go. And at that point, I was still not looking at the fact that marriage was about we and not me. I was looking at marriage as my escape. It was supposed to be my happily ever after, my everything. And I was not considering my husband's feelings in anything. I was ready to call it quits. I was ready to leave. I thought I made a mistake. I was beginning to check out. What happened though? What changed? And I'm sure a lot of people may want to know, okay, you went through all of that. Your mindset was like that. What changed? What made you stick around? What made you stay? I started to learn a lot of hard lessons. I started to realize that I wasn't as much of a great person as I thought I was. I used to think that I was God's gift to man. And again, a lot of that stemmed from what I saw growing up. I thought I was perfect and I couldn't do any wrong. That whole concept, that whole mindset was wrong. I later learned that I had to let go of a lot of the things that I was doing because it was wrong. Therapy helped me big time to get a better grasp of who I was and who I wanted to be and what habits and mannerisms I had to shed off in order to become the person that I wanted to be. I had to learn to compromise. I had to learn to give and take and share. And more than anything, I had to look at the character of my husband. It didn't matter how many times I did or said things to make him feel uncomfortable or to make him want to quit or to make him want to leave or whatever, his character never changed. He never resorted to stoop to my level to treat me the way that I was treating him. In a way, he taught me what love was. He taught me how to love myself and how to love him. And without that, without him, without his patience, without his gentleness, without his compassionate nature, I probably would still be where I was then, and I wouldn't be the person that I am now. I believe that a lot changes once you're with the person who you're supposed to be with. Because just like many other people, I've been in relationships previously where I thought this person could be the one, I could settle down with them, we could build a family together and all this great stuff. And they just did not pour into me the way that I needed to. And this is not to say that I need someone to complete me, because I do believe that no one can complete me. If I can't come into a relationship already complete, or if I can't work on being complete within myself, then it's never going to happen, because once that person leaves, then they'll be taking with them the part of them that would complete me, and that would leave me broken. My husband helped me to put my pieces together and helped me to become the woman that I am. I believe that I was not ready for marriage. As much as I talked myself up, as much as that was what was expected, because when you get to a certain age, you start getting the question, so when you get married, when you gonna have kids and whatever. And now I know people need to mind their business, because marriage and having kids is not for everyone. There's some people who don't want it, and there's some people who can't have it. And it's not my place or anyone else's place to tell anyone or ask anyone why their life isn't how I want their life to be. Not my place. I definitely think that once I got to that place where I could recognize that I wasn't as great as I thought I was, and I started realizing that my husband had a different type of character. He was a good, upstanding, honest man, patient, all those good qualities that you look for in a husband. Once I saw all those things, then I realized that, hey, not only do I need to be a better person for myself, but I need to be a better wife for him because he doesn't deserve that. That's not what he gives. And I'm going to do my best to meet him where he's at, since he's been meeting me where I've been for this entire time. Let me try to meet him where he's at so we can fix whatever issues that we have in this relationship and start building. We were spending so much time fighting each other that we weren't putting in enough energy into building our legacy, building our dreams, building the love that we have for each other. So I will leave you guys with this. Be honest and transparent about where you are in your relationship. Yes, they tell you all the time that you should have everything figured out before you get married. The truth and the reality is that's not always going to happen. They tell you, oh, these are questions you should ask before you get married. The reality is sometimes some of those issues don't present themselves until after you're married. Don't feel like your marriage is doomed because you didn't get it right the first time, or you didn't sort certain things out before you got married. Don't write yourself off. It's still never too late to figure out how to have a stronger relationship. One of the biggest things that I notice couples struggle with is communicating. Learning to communicate is so difficult for many people because, again, you come from two different walks of life, you operate two different ways, and then you come together, and the expectation is that everything is going to mesh, everything is going to go smoothly. And more often than not, that's not what happens. I had a blast chatting with you guys today. Of course, I try not to make my podcast episodes too long because I want you guys to be able to absorb everything. So until we meet again, thanks for tuning in, and we'll talk soon. Take care. Well, that's all, y'all. Thanks for tuning in this week. If you haven't already, please subscribe and leave a review for the show. It helps a whole lot. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at MelissaTWalker_ and use the hashtag OYS podcast for more great content.